Alright. Here we go. Hang on. I didn't think I would have so much to say about this short little game, but I do. That wasn't a good thing. Oh, you know how nerve-wracking this is? You know how right you have to say it? I didn't think I would have so much to say about this short little game, but I do! Shadow of the Colossus is a 2018 PS4 remake of Shadow of the Colossus, which apparently was on the PS2 in 2005. Did you guys know this? I mean, I have much more experience with Nintendo than PlayStation, but I always thought Shadow of the Colossus was PS3. One day I'll probably play the original version just out of sheer curiosity. I assume it must be very different, but for now I can only be honest about how fun the PS4 version is, and the fastest way to put it is that it's just okay. I'm not biased by nostalgia of this game. My first time experiencing it was on PS4, and I'm of the opinion that it's not as fun as you would hope from an action-adventure game. Shadow of the Colossus, regardless of what system you're playing it on, is a technological marvel, which is fitting because ever since the PS1 days, it seems like Sony has sought to impress with amazing visuals over charming gameplay. Although this is a solid candidate for the prettiest game I've ever played, the gameplay aspect of it is not as impressive. Doing the things you have to do just isn't highly fun. It's kind of a mini-game, short by even PS2 standards, that seeks to impress with very high production value. But every level of Shadow of the Colossus takes place in 3 very simple phases. Phase 1 involves slowly, painfully riding your stupid horse through a wide and beautiful overworld. This part doesn't last very long, but the horse controls are just so bad they manage to distract from all the lovely scenery. When you finally arrive at the Colossus, you enter Phase 2, finding out what the heck you're supposed to do. These creatures all have breathtaking designs, but fighting them isn't equally exciting. In a somewhat puzzle game-like fashion, I was forced to discover the bizarre counterintuitive method of taking down these beasts. It's not easy, and it's different for every Colossus. You have to jump around the environment, sometimes on horseback or sometimes swimming, trying different things to see what gets the Colossus to react. If you take too long, your guardian spirit will start spamming you with the same clue every 20 seconds. But you conclude Phase 2 by finally mounting the Colossus and reaching its weak point, which can be very satisfying, although the whole process is plagued by clunky controls. The protagonist of this game is slow, and it's terrible. He's constantly tripping and losing his grip, and yeah, I guess that part's realistic, but realism does not equal satisfying gameplay. I just want to feel in control of what I'm doing, like my button presses actually mean something. Instead, I had to put up with all this, realistic clumsiness, this fumbling. It's just not something I really want to see in an action-adventure game, to be honest. But once you've overcome those controls and the extreme confusion of Phase 2, you can enact Phase 3, which is very simple. Just start wailing away. Just hit the Colossus over and over. It'll try to shake you off, which slows down the process. Sometimes you will fall off, then you need to repeat the entire slow process of Phase 2, luring the Colossus where it needs to go and painstakingly climbing it. I hope you can see why I didn't find this game terribly fun, because at times it seems so anti-player. Whittling down the health pool of a Colossus can take a long time. I selected hard mode for this game, which may have been a mistake. I don't think it did anything except increase the Colossus' HP, thereby prolonging the fights. Then, when the Colossus is finally defeated, nothing happens except the next level begins immediately, and you're teleported back to the temple so you can awkwardly ride to the next Colossus. This cycle of 3 phases loops seamlessly for the whole game, and there's really nothing else to do in this lonely, barren overworld. However, there is a little bit of story content, and I'll give you a minor spoiler warning. Please skip to this timestamp if you don't want to hear my opinion on the plot. Why does Shadow of the Colossus have to be so freaking sad? I did not expect this game to end on such a low note, following a really bad, unwinnable minigame segment. The whole ordeal made me feel like I did something wrong, but I just wanted a feel-good action game. I played it to cheer myself up during quarantine. I didn't think this game's only ending would be profoundly depressing. And I understand this is subjective, but I just wish it didn't have to be this way. The ending came as a shock and did not match the tone of anything else. Moving on, according to multiple websites, Shadow of the Colossus was influential in establishing video games as a medium of art. And I can certainly see that for 2005. I'm very interested in playing the original version because I do hold older games to a different set of expectations. After all, that's what you have to do if you play games from across different generations. If Nintendo created A Link to the Past today, people would think Nintendo messed up. They'd ask things like, why is it so short, so annoyingly challenging? Why is Link's hair pink, and why does the story make no sense? A Link to the Past is a great game, it's just not a modern game, so you can't hold it to the same standard. Just like a classic movie of the 1940s, you have to understand what the art form was like in its day. So that's just an example, but what I'm trying to outline is that Shadow of the Colossus may have been a mind-blowing, exciting, innovative PlayStation 2 game for its own reasons, but the remake doesn't quite carry that over to a modern gamer's sensibilities. While playing, I felt a disappointingly low amount of fun compared to what I expected. So to sum it up, my rating for Shadow of the Colossus 2018 is 6.5 out of 10. The game is amazing, but not highly fun. It's a good, creative piece of art overall, but I think its gameplay may not be that pleasing for first-timers. I felt very frustrated very often, and I know that one of my friends did too. But it is gorgeous. It has memorable creature designs and a perfect soundtrack. And to its credit, the gameplay can provide an interesting challenge that feels hardcore for casual gamers and casual for hardcore gamers. So those are the reasons it may be worth playing if you're a PS4 owner. Just be warned of the poor controls and slow, baffling, sometimes infuriating puzzle gameplay. It's not perfect, and my final moments with this game left me feeling much sadder than I bargained for during this statewide stay-at-home order. Thank you for watching, and make sure to tell me in the comments if I'm dead wrong, or if you're thinking about trying this game, let me know if I provided some insight. I think that first-time blind players will find that I'm right, but I'd appreciate some discussion in the comments, and I'll be back in another 2.5 years.